Hey, it's John Gafford from the Escaping the Drift podcast. And big news, my new book, Escaping the Drift, is coming out November the 11th. You can pre-order it right now at thejohngafford.com. There are tons of bonuses, tons of giveaways. Get the book. If you are somebody that feels like you might be drifting along, this is for you. If you know somebody that feels like they might be drifting along, this is for you. Available everywhere, all bookstores, everywhere, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, the whole 9 yards. But pick your copy up right now at thejohngafford.com and get a bunch of the awesome bonuses I've thrown out, because I promise you, I put my heart and soul into this thing. I want it to help you change your life. Pick it up everywhere. What's the most un-alpha habit you have that actually makes you a better man?
Self-tanner.
And now, Escaping the Drift, the show designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I'm John Gafford, and I have a knack for getting extraordinary achievers to drop their secrets to help you on a path to greatness. So stop drifting along, escape the drift, and it's time to start right now. Back again for another episode of the show that, like it says in the opening, man, gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And today, ladies and gentlemen, beaming live into the studio from just outside of Bozeman, Montana, where apparently it's already snowing. Not here. 12 inches of sunshine in Vegas today, but already snowing in Bozeman. This guest today is a dude that's built over 20 brands. He's currently got four companies with 8 active brands across industries, including automotive, off-road, janitorial, RV, but mainly what we're going to talk about today is his men's coaching business, which has taken out. He is on a mission after 25 years of entrepreneurship to save the American male. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. This is Kevin Davis. Kevin, how are you, man?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, I love it. So maxed out man. When did you start maxed out man? Let's start with that.
So it's been a couple of years, but I actually had this kind of God-given epiphany about 12 months ago that I needed to scrap the entire thing and start over. And, So that's always fun when you have a growing brand. But the story goes, originally I was targeting guys like me. I'm in my early 50s. I'm fit, happily married, good business, all of those things. But over the course of this weekend that I had was down in Miami, speaking of sunshine. I had 13 conversations. 12 of those were with men under the age of 35, and 11 of those were about marriage. And so it was kind of this like, dude, these guys need to hear from you. They don't have men in their lives to tell them how to be married, how to get fit, how to be successful in business. You need to be that guy. And so we re-engineered, rebranded, did everything brand new in Max Out Man. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
So let's go backwards. Tell me a little bit about you growing up that gave you, was dad a super influence on you? Were mom and dad together? Or are you the polar opposite deal?
It's the opposite. You know, either do what you see or do the exact opposite because of what you saw. And yes. I'm kind of the second one. My parents divorced when I was 6.
Hey, we got a match.
Nice. Yeah. And you know, it's funny because I always credit this to Dan Martell. I know he wasn't the first person to say it, but almost every successful entrepreneur between 6 years old and 12 years old had some sort of crazy traumatic event happen. Mm-hmm. It kind of sets that recipe and sets the stage for, you know, building self-reliance and task management and figuring out how to solve your problems and all that. And that was kind of me. I kind of raised myself after the age of 8. My mom was into drugs and alcohol, and we moved every 6 months, depending on what guy she was shacking up with at the time. And at that point, this is 70s in Texas. And at that point, your mom could be a literal crack whore. Mine wasn't, but they could be the worst mom ever, and they would still give her full custody. This is kind of how life went back in the 70s for us. And so
back when they had the open container laws in Texas that you could just drive around drinking a beer.
That's right. That's right, for sure.
Which from the sounds of it, your mom may have done from time to time.
Sure, she was probably the poster child for that, I'm sure. Yeah. And my dad, I love my dad, great guy, but he ended up marrying a woman that was not the best stepmom in the world. My dad's not a strong guy. He's a really loyal person. And so he didn't necessarily kind of fill me with, hey, this is what you need to do as a man, and these are the things to deal with. And I had other men in my life that I relied on. I'm a big car guy. So every weekend I was over hanging out with the guy that had a 67 Corvette, and then his daughter had a Camaro. My girlfriend had a Malibu. I had a Malibu Chevelle. So that was kind of the men that I learned stuff from.
Yeah. Learning how to turn a wrench at an early age.
That's right. And learning how to throw them. When you bust your knuckles, that's another quintessential learning.
Yeah, there's always that fear that you get from your father of holding the flashlight if when he's fixing a tire or something.
That's right.
He wasn't there, so you just got it from somebody else, which is interesting.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So what? So are lifelong entrepreneur? Did you come out and have jobs? I mean, what's the story there?
So my degree, I have 2 degrees, one in exercise physiology and one in business. I started my early career as a personal trainer, and then I was really good as a personal trainer and really good at sales. So I got my own club when I was 22 in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of like I didn't know jack squat, 22 years old. I'm the operations manager of a 50,000 square foot facility doing 20,000 workouts a day. Crazy, right? And I figured out that if you want to have a family, the fitness industry is not the place for you, because your hours are 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And so those are not exactly family conducive kind of hours, right?
Yeah.
And so I had an opportunity this is the dot-com boom days. People were throwing money at everybody. I had an opportunity to work for a startup at that point and ended up helping to grow that company. From I think I was number 27 or something to over 200.
From in sales or
I was in operations, and I did corporate training and program management, project management stuff, kind of a little bit of everything when you start out. And so that was kind of that journey and then from there, so I kind of had this entrepreneurial thing, and then I started my own business. First business was a web company. And then it's just been, my wife basically just accuses me of just my business. My hobby is starting new businesses. So that's kind of, in addition to cars, she's not wrong.
Well, what made you a great salesman?
I think so the way I describe it, and it's just like this, right? And I feel like you probably have the same thing. I feel like I was given a gift that I can open what I call a conduit to pretty much everybody. So whether it's a custodian at a high school, a 10-figure business owner, billionaires, it doesn't really matter. I was given this gift, I feel, to where I can find whatever that thing is to connect the two of us. And so that is, it's really the connection part of sales that makes it about sales. I'm not a high pressure guy. I'm not I'm not a car salesman kind of guy, any of that kind of stuff. It's really just making a connection, giving an offer of how I can help them. And then, if they take it, they take it.
And they go from there. But those same skills, the high EQ, the people skills translated to all of those places.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I was thinking the other day about what does that journey look like? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what business you're in, what offer you're making. It's all about networking, leadership, and communication. Those are kind of the things, and you can build your teams that way. You can build businesses that way. And that's kind of my story overall.
When you were that kid at 22 years old and they put you in charge of that gym, what do you think they saw in you that they figured you could do it?
I'm the one I kind of just give that vibe, and I even did at that point. And I don't know if it's overconfidence or stupidity, probably a little bit of both, but I'll give you an example. I went to a car show that my buddy had invited me that he was putting on, and his wife was putting on, Southern California, about 300 cars, huge car show, famous guys like Chip Foose and Andy, I'm trying to remember his last name. Anyway, guys like that, big in the industry. And I showed up, and literally 15 minutes later, I had a clipboard and a golf cart, and I was running the show somehow. And so, because I started telling people what to do and trying to organize things, and I just kind of am, that tends to be my methodology. I try not to, Michelle, my wife, she'd be like, dude, you are way too much. You need to slow down. Don't always have to be in charge, those kind of things. And so I try to be a little bit more gentle. But yeah, at 22, I was probably a little bit more forceful. They knew that I knew that I could do it.
Well, also just, I mean, obviously you're not in the studio, you're beaming in today, but you look like you're a tall dude. How tall are you?
I'm actually 6 foot.
Okay. All right.
Yep. 6 foot. I look taller on the internet, which is nice, but I'm not, I'm 6 foot, about 205. So, I have a fair amount of muscle on me. So, but I do have that presence, right? Like I feel like that. And Michelle calls it resting bitch face, which I probably do have. And it can intimidate a little bit, but I'm actually pretty nice.
You know, I'll tell you a funny story. There's something about being tall, and I'm a tall guy. I used to be 6'4". I'm probably shrinking now, which you can probably appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
And but yeah, when we went to many years ago, I was on a reality show, and it was The Apprentice, and my sister and I went to an open call. And because she's 5'10", we're both dressed in black suits. There's thousands of people there, and everybody's coming up to us asking us where to go. What should I be doing? Where should I be in this line? Should I be in that line? It's like, we're here the same as you. So There's something to be said about being able to put out a presence that people just resonate to and are willing to follow. So I hopefully that's part of your program that you're teaching some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, the physicality of it makes a big difference. Fitness makes a huge difference. People, especially when you start getting into our age group, right? Like the difference between a fit 50-year-old or 55-year-old or almost 53 and a not fit one is so striking that you become, that pool of people that you have to compete with gets really small. And so and if you're, moderately attractive, you carry yourself well, you can have great conversations and smile a lot, you actually get better treatment. And people could call it privilege if they want or whatever, but like, dude, I work hard to make sure I have this privilege. So, but like whether it's flight attendants or, the airport people or TSA or anything, you can kind of prove it to yourself.
It's amazing for those of you that are much younger. If you told me at 35 the stuff I was willing to do at 53 to stay in shape, I mean, dude, as soon as somebody said peptide, and now my stomach is like a damn pincushion from all the peptides that I shoot in myself every day, and I am a needle like phobia. Like I hate, dude, I hate it, and now. Every day I'm shooting needles at myself with these damn peptides to stay ahead of the game, man. Cause it's, using that science to stay fit.
Yeah. I haven't gone down the peptide right, but I've been on TRT for a couple of years and dude, literally changed my life. So that's a big ass needle I shoot in my butt twice a week.
Yeah. I do that. I do that too. Yeah.
Do that too. There you go.
Yeah. Do that too.
Big needles, little needles.
I'm on. So right now I'm on the Glow, which is BP 157 GKU for your skin and stuff in your joints. Because being tall, I'll tell you, the BP 157 made a huge difference in my joints. Because when you lift and as you get older, it's just your joints just hurt when you work out. But that's good. So I'm good there. And then it's got something else in it, GKU something, and then something else in it that makes it. TB 500.
Oh, okay.
And then testosterone and like a microdose of terzepatide, but just for my brain, not for like losing weight on it.
Yeah.
For that. So yeah, dude, it's just constant little needles just jabbing in you in every direction. It's a disaster.
And being sore. I told somebody the other day, I started lifting when I was 14. So I've literally been sore for 40 years.
Right? Yeah. Well, see, here's the problem. Like I got some friends, see when again, 53, I got some friends that are in their 40s and these morons are still working out like I did in like high school. They're like they'll come work out. And it's like, what are we doing today? And I'm thinking like, at this point I lift weights 4 days a week. 2 of those are functional upper body. 2 of those are functional lower body. And it's a lot of mixed stuff. It's a lot of multi-angle, like pale-off press where you're getting a lot of different parts of the body involved. These idiots are like, oh, we're going to work out shoulders today. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, what? One body part? Those days are long gone for the kid. There's nothing about 1,000 reps on my shoulders in one day that I need to do anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to
my shoulder hurts just thinking about what you're talking about.
Who does that anymore? It makes no sense to work out like that. Well, let's talk about, when do you think, because obviously you're teaching masculinity and how to be a good man. When do you think, when did the decline in masculinity start in this country?
Oh man, I think it's probably, I mean, it's got to be in the last 10 years, I would say. And it's kind of, it's one of those slippery slopes, right? It's like the frog in the boiling pot of water a little bit with, gender politics honestly plays into it. And I think not in the way that most people would probably think, but I think that our biggest issue right now, and the things that scares me the most, speaking of testosterone, our cumulative testosterone, the average testosterone in 17 to like 22-year-old men, guys, is lower. It continues to get lower, which is really scary. But then you couple that with societal pressure and some of that thing. So the way I describe it is that I think boys who are, let's say 15 to 18, they are afraid to be men. Right. And that can mean different things. You know, I tend to be a little bit more alpha. You were talking about working out. You probably a little bit more alpha in that way. If you're not like a alpha guy, then that's totally okay. But I think what we are teaching these young men is that the worst possible thing you can be is a guy. You know, that's where there's toxic masculinity, that rhetoric and all that, right? Like it's, you know, so because then it's not only from a political standpoint, gender ideology and all that, but it's actually in the presence of young women. It's like I've did this thing where I literally open my wife's door every time, both in the car and wherever we go, unless I'm physically unable for the last 32 years that we've been together.
Unless it's shoulder day.
Yeah, unless it's shoulder day, right? And so, but just the act of opening her door, some women will, especially young ones, will interpret that you're saying I'm less than or whatever, right? And that's the exact opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying to my wife, I value and care enough for you to show the respect of opening your door for you, not because you can't. She's a boxer, she's a welder, she does off-road rallies. There's nothing weak about this woman.
Yeah, right.
But I think what we're teaching these young guys is that I don't even know what I can do and what I can't do. Like, as my natural inclination is to treat this young woman with tons of respect, adoration, put her up on a pedestal, whatever. But I think if I do that, I'm going to be rejected.
Do you think that's regional, that kind of behavior? And the reason I say that is because, like, I grew up in the South, like as South is in the South. That's where I grew up.
Yeah,
and we spend a lot of time in New Orleans, and we got a lot of dear friends there. And you still teach your kids manners in New Orleans. You still teach them to pull. I mean, my wife always jokes that the first time she met a bunch of my guy friends in New Orleans, we were at a formal lunch at a very famous restaurant there, and she got up to leave the table, and everybody stood up, and it freaked her out. And it was just like, well, that's just kind of manners, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we've done a good job of trying to, and in Vegas, it's hard, you know, because here it's a melting pot.
Such a mixture, right? Yeah.
It's a melting pot from all over the place, but you know, holding doors for people and yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and that kind of a thing. You know, we've done our best to instill that in our kids, but I can tell it's definitely an anomaly here.
Yeah.
Without question.
Which is good, because you want them to be the anomaly, right? Like that's a big part of it. Yeah. I didn't even know adults had first names till I was like 13.
But literally, I was on a trip this weekend in Napa with one of my good friends who's 55. And he said to me, hey, because my son is 17, he's going to college next year. And my buddy said, hey, do you think we can get away from the Mr. Gorton with hate? I mean, I've known him since he was a kid. Do you think we can get away from the Mr. Gorton thing? And I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Nope. What do you mean? I said, at my father's funeral, me as a mid-40s man, there were men there that I had, you know, Mr. Knutson, Mr. Russell. That's just what I'm 45 years old, and that's what I called them because that's how it is. So I said, well, Eric, is Hayden ever going to call you Eric? No, he's not.
No.
Because it's not appropriate.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, and
not how this works.
I think that's just good manners, and it shows respect. I know one of the things in the South, you'll hear like Mr. Kevin, Miss Michelle.
Yeah.
The little kids, but it's still, there's a part of respect there that it's not, I'm not on a first name basis. My daughter's dating a young man now that I hope she's going to marry. Awesome dude. But he still calls us Mr. and Mrs. Davis. He's 28, 29 years old. Yeah. And that's, you know, he doesn't, that's just, and I respect that. And I like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I like it too. Let's get back to talking about men being broken. Your program, Maxed Out Man, really focuses on 3 pillars, which are, you know, man, marriage, and mission. Tell me about that.
So, and my thing just went crazy again. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. It
You're
blinked.
good.
All right, good. So sorry. There's your cut right there.
No, you're good.
So Max Out Man, we describe it kind of as that three-legged stool, which is a fairly common analogy, but it's usually man, marriage, and mission. Those are the three things we talk about. Man is mindset. Health and fitness is a huge one. Spirituality and faith. Marriage is fairly obvious, how you treat your wife, all of the different things about being married successfully. And the mission typically is your legacy, finances, entrepreneurship, tons of business oriented things. And so most of the time, men only get one or two of those right, and usually one or two very wrong. And so as an example, you'll have a guy that's, 7-figure entrepreneur, 8-figure entrepreneur. His kids hate him and he never talks to his wife. Right. And maybe he's 50 pounds overweight.
Well, I think if your kids are teenagers, don't feel too bad. They're going to hate you for a couple years regardless.
Between 14 and 22, you get a break, right?
They're going to hate you.
Or like in my case, I'll admit that my marriage is solid. The way I describe it is it's better today than it was last year, and it's worse today than it'll be next year. So like it just keeps getting better. And I don't know a lot of men that can say that after over 30 years of marriage, but it literally gets better all the time. My fitness is dialed in, work out 6 days a week, pretty dialed in there, but but my business side of it, I typically am a little more frazzled with my business. I could be more successful in that area. So I know those things to work on.
The first one obviously is your man, which is focusing on your first thing. I don't know how you could be good at the other two if you don't have that first one straight.
Well, I mean, people prove it all the time. There are a lot of really overweight, unhealthy men that are successful business people. I don't see how you can't have that one dialed in and be effective anywhere else. But at the same time, the same thing goes for marriage. You're miserable at home, that will transfer out to every relationship.
Yeah. You look at like Jeff Bezos, right? He was not exactly a stud when he got Amazon going. And now the dude rolls around. Oh, number one, he's financed like one, but he looks like a Bond villain. That dude.
He hits that TRT pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it. If you literally had unlimited funds, unlimited funds, if you're not in great shape, there's something wrong with you, which is honestly, when you see like, and man, we're going to get hate for this, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. But like, I think that's where people have like a problem with like Lizzo, right? Like, no, you're not. Everybody's beautiful in your own way. Like, you're rich now. You can afford anything. And I think you've seen her lose some weight because of that, I don't think it has anything to do with the pressure of people saying she's not attractive in her current state. I think it has to do with when you're rich and you can afford a chef and a trainer and all of that other stuff. Suddenly it becomes much easier to get in shape than when you're trying to count points on a Nutrisystem app on your phone and maybe make it to Orange Theory after your 12-hour shift at the plant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a little harder to get in shape then, but when you're rich, you got
a personal chef that you give them your macros. Look, I would be way more ripped than I am right now.
Yeah.
I would not be, doing my own food prep every week and all of that kind of stuff. Right. I do actually think about that. I'm like, why is this rich guy or rich girl, why are you fat and unhealthy? Like, it's not that hard to call people that can come help you. Like, where's your assistant? And I think there's no one in their life to tell them, look, you're fat. This isn't good for you.
I think
it's not all about the visual.
I think people that are heavy are well aware that they're heavy. I think probably that they need to deal with the underlying issues there.
Yeah.
I think is probably most of it. I know me. I know when I get super, super, super stressed out, I'm heading to the pantry and I got to fight. That is a battle that I fight all the time. I'm like, bro, you do not need a handful of peanut butter pretzel things. You just don't need it. Yeah. Just because you had a stressful phone call, that's not going to make the world better. And that's, I constantly battle with myself over that.
Well, if I live with a pastry chef, she's an amateur, but she's professional level. And I'm addicted to sugar. We have lock boxes and a lockable freezer so that she can keep and I call him Kevy, my inner fat kid who gets up at 2 a.m. and wants to eat, right? Like, that's my, similar struggle, but it's rough.
Yeah. I kind of can't wait, cause my thing is if it's in the house, I'll eat it, right? And so with the kids, we always have all this really like crazy junk. And I'm just like, why do we have this? You know? And then, I mean, you're like, this is terrible. We have this munching it down. But it's like, why do we have this? I tell my wife all the time. It's like, I will miss our kids when they're gone and off to college, but I will not miss what my pantry looks like. There's be nothing in it.
Yeah. And I mean, the question goes is it healthier for you? Or it's not any healthier for them than it is for you.
No,
right?
but dude,
but
when you're
kids.
My son, he's 17. He can eat 8,000 calories a day.
Anything. Yeah. Right.
And be, 2% body fat the rest of his life.
He's just got a spoon with M&Ms. That's all.
Yeah. It makes no sense. Well, let's talk about what builds a healthy marriage. I want to talk about that. Well, what in your opinion, you said you've been married 30 years. What's the secret in your opinion to a healthy marriage?
Honestly, there's a guy named Dr. Gary Chapman. If you're familiar with the 5 love languages, that was his thing. And he started that, he developed all that stuff, but he talks about the 5 love languages are great. I love that stuff. Go look that up. But one of the big things he talks about is that marriage isn't 50-50. It's actually 100-100. Okay. So the way that it should work is that if I do everything I can to make sure that my wife's needs are met, and she does everything she can to make sure my needs are met, everybody's needs get met. That's the end equation. Honestly, it's not that simple. For me, I basically put, it's God, my wife, kids. And what I think happens a lot, especially typically more with moms than dads.
Kids.
But kids. Yeah, it's and I've seen women say, I'll do anything for my kids, and they could care less about the husband, right? Yeah. And that's why when you see people, you're coming up, your son's 17, when you get to that empty nester phase, that's when a lot of people get divorced because they realize they've invested absolutely nothing into their relationship over the last 15, 18 years. And, it's not surprising that they don't know each other.
Well, the one thing they had in common just walked out the door.
Absolutely. That's the only thing you have to talk about. I mean, we're huge into date nights. We did a date night on Friday, went out, nothing crazy. We just went out for Chinese food, which don't tell my trainer, but went out for Chinese food and just kind of hung out and talked. And we have these little conversation cards that we use and that connection, but it's little simple stuff. I had an experience Saturday morning. I went down and worked out. She wasn't doing weights today, but I'm listening to my playlist, and there's a song called The Good Stuff by Kenny Chesney that came on. And the premise of the song is it goes to the bar, says, give me the good stuff, and thinking that's alcohol. But he goes on to describe all of these little moments and these little things that make up a happy life with your wife. Mm-hmm. And so love that song. Michelle loves that song. I came upstairs, I started playing that song, and I grabbed her and we slow danced in our kitchen for 3.5 minutes, right? When we pulled away from each other, both of us were crying. And it's just this like tenderness and this tender moment that was completely unplanned, but it's a deliberate act to feed into my relationship, right? Because it's so easy for me just to not do that, right? But it didn't take much effort and didn't take much time.
But see, wait a second. But wait. Hey, not so fast. Now, but see, isn't that not work with the alpha lifestyle?
I think, when you talk about what a masculine man is, he loves, serves, and protects the women in his life and his friends, but in particular, his wife. Alpha has a bad name.
The point, exactly. That's the point that I was trying to get to. I think you've got a whole generation of guys coming up that watch certain social media influencers and stars.
Mr. AT.
Yeah, there you go.
You might be thinking of, yeah.
Yeah, and watch this. That's who's educating a generation of men how to be men.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying, that's what people that are in my space, we try to combat that, right? Like I want to teach a young man how to treat a woman in a way that they feel loved, cherished, and protected. Because if you look at, I don't care what, feminism and all that stuff, but if you look at the core of what most, if not, 95% want, it is those 3 things: to be loved, to be cherished, and to have safety and security, or to be protected, right? Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about the propensity for violence. I don't know if you've ever heard him talk about that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Basically, women want to know, not that you're a violent person,
you're
but
capable.
You're capable of doing it, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the same. Like, you should have, like, I have gorilla hands, is what she says. She actually calls me her gorilla because I'm the guy that breaks glasses on accident in my hands. It's just from years of working on cars, all that kind of stuff.
It might be a depth perception issue as well.
Could be that. But I can have that tenderness that when we lay in bed at night, if she wants her back rubbed, I can tenderly do that. That's kind of how I see masculinity in its purest form, is that it's based out of love and based out of caring, not based out of authority, or somehow proving that I've got a big unit or whatever drives that kind of behavior. That's not what masculinity is all about.
When guys come to you, what's the biggest problem with most of them have that you see consistent?
Self-identity is a huge thing, and I suffer with it too, like the imposter syndrome, or like I'm not good enough, or I'm kind of putting on this mask and no one really knows the real me. Those are big ones. And that gets coupled with no relationships with other men. That's our go-to, right? As guys, is it's really hard for us to have relationships with other guys and to be friends with other guys. I talked about this morning on a call. We kind of did these wins today, and I had 2 wins on Friday. I had a morning conversation and an end of the day conversation before date night with 2 guys that I've been meaning to connect with for about 6 months. And we finally got connected and had like a 40-minute conversation. But it started because I thought of them. I texted them to say, hey, just want to let you know I'm thinking about you. I love you. I hope you're doing well. Let's connect. And then then they call me. So those kind of activities, that is missing in a lot of men, I think, whether it's fear, not understanding, or a whole host of different reasons.
Well, I think as you get older, and it's, people get families, people get this, people wait too long. They wait they're like, well, I don't have any friends because nobody reaches out to me to do anything. Yeah. But in most cases, people just aren't thinking about you because they're probably not thinking about much outside of themselves. And, I tell people all the time, if you want something to happen in your life, you've got to be responsible for that. And if that means reaching out to other people to be happy, you have to do that. It's also interesting you were talking about self-identity with people, because with the people that I coach, one of the things I find is the biggest mistake is they wrap their identity to something that's fleeting. Their identity becomes their job. It becomes their profession. It becomes something that could change several times throughout their life. And sometimes, especially in this climate, could change unwillingly. And if your entire identity is wrapped up in something that you don't control, like a job, then you're setting yourself up for a major problem. I mean, you should identify as nothing more than things that are within your personal control, in my opinion. Right. I think that's
the way I have described it to people is that men, and I made this mistake. I almost cost me my marriage and missed the first 6 months out of my daughter's life. Tony Robbins talks about the human condition is to avoid pain and seek pleasure.
Sure.
Right. And what men typically do is wherever they get the most reward, and it may, we'll use pleasure as the main thing, but wherever they get the most pleasure and have the least amount of pain, they will gravitate towards that. The example I'll give is in my own life. I had no idea how to be a dad. Kind of, had really no example of how to be a good husband at that point. And so, but I was super freaking good at my job and people loved me at my job. And so I gravitated towards career instead of gravitating towards my family. And by the grace of God, my wife said, look, I don't know if you want to still be married, but if you do, something needs to change. And so I made a complete 180, changed my life, and it's been almost 30 years. And I got, probably 27 years. And it changed everything for me. But it's that perspective on what the priority is in your life. And like you said, make the priority things that you actually can control. Those are good.
Yeah. How often do you do like the check-in with your wife to make sure everything's going okay? Pretty
much every day. I mean, I talk to, and it's those little moments. It's just really understanding, because I can, after this amount of time, I can just look at her and know that she's frustrated. I can look at her and know that she's just having a rough day or whatever. I've got the quintessential, it is law that if I walk through the kitchen, my office is right here. The kitchen is literally, 6 feet away. We have a decent sized house. So she's always in the kitchen doing baking, all that. If I walk through that room and I don't slap her on the ass, something is seriously wrong. So that, by the way, man, that is a quintessential dude rule. Like you have to.
It is. See, honey, where are we at? We're at 36 minutes. Honey, I'm going to make you listen to this because she doesn't believe me. She thinks it's just me. No, it's not. It's not.
Nope. It's a rule. And, I saw this video the other day of a woman basically saying, women, stop complaining that your husband slaps you on the ass or makes sexual advances or whatever. You literally have a guy that loves you and is attracted to you enough to put that effort.
Yeah. Be
so
happy.
Stop complaining about it, right? Like be happy for it, because it could be the exact opposite.
Yeah. My wife and I are very practical in the assessment of our marriage. We have a thing that we do where we'll say, I love you today. And if the today is on there, you don't get it every day. Right. But if the today's on there, it's legit, because what happens is, when you're married for a long time, in passing, it's like, yeah, good night, love you. Yeah, oh, see, I'm leaving, love you. And just becomes goodbye or hello. There's nothing to it. Yep. So on those days when you get the I love you today, it's like, oh, really? You do today? Because look, I tell people that get married, I tell everybody that I know that's getting married, I tell them that story, because I'm like, every day is not sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be days when you're just sitting there and you're like, could she eat out of that Tupperware any louder? I mean, is it even humanly possible to scrape the side of that Tupperware with that spoon any louder? And you want to murder this person. And then there's days when it's like, I love you today. But we do that a lot. We have I've been married 4 times. Always to the same woman, though. We get married every 5 years.
Nice.
As a check-in, and I figure
you're about to throw this interview for a whole loop.
No. That's always to the same woman. But yeah, we do that every 5 years, and it's my way of like, hey man, if she'll go through with that again, then probably do it okay. So at least every 5 years, I know exactly where I'm at. If she's ever like. Yeah, I think next time, just to throw some spice into it, I might ask her for a prenup. I don't think that's going to go over very well.
Yeah, I don't think she'll like that. I will give the audience a little bit of here's a trick, going back to your I love you today thing. What I did one year, I started in January, and I started with I bought a pack of 3x5 index cards. And every day I would write, I love about her. Right. We have a pretty decent sized master bathroom. She has her own sink on one side, mine's on the other. I began to tape them up around her mirror. And so she'd see a new one every day and kind of knew where the new ones would go. And so imagine 365 of those all around her bathroom mirror. Right. So you got all of these 3x5 cards. I got nerdy about it. I actually put in an Excel spreadsheet to make sure I didn't repeat any.
Yeah, that would have made more sense to me.
Make sure I did that. But I actually just hand wrote them out. And then at the end of the year for Christmas, I made one of those, photo books that I had different pages of us.
So wait, hang on. They're just randomly placed around the mirrre?
Literally, like they're taped.
But just randomly kind of.
No, I'm pretty anal. So
I'm saying my ADD, like all I'm hearing is my ADD is screaming.
They were organized.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Not my topic or anything, but they were aligned. Right?
A random hodgepodge of cards stuck on the wall in your house. No. This is my worst nightmare.
Well, we'll have to find a different way to do it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Now you spreadsheet. You're speaking my love language. Now you know my love language. There we go.
I used the spreadsheet in order to make sure I didn't repeat it. But at the end of the year, I made her a book and gave it to her for Christmas.
That's awesome.
A coffee table book. And so, awesome. Some of them got a little spicy, but so that's a great thing to do.
That is. So if a guy's coming to you, right?
Yep.
How quickly, and again, this is almost like an infomercial question. It's not. I'm just curious though, because what is your expectation when you bring somebody on that they should see some results or see some advancement?
I mean, really, it's nothing that we're not curing cancer here, right? Like we're trying to help men get better. And all I want these guys to do is to take deliberate action to improve a little bit at a time, right? And actually, most of the guys within a few weeks to a month, they should see some sort of forward progress. And it's simple crap like like we talked about, opening the door, making sure you check in with her. Those are some of those marriage things, and from a fitness standpoint, you're going to be sore after the first workout. So you start to see that happen. And obviously it takes 6, 8, 12 weeks for you to see some real progress, but you're going to see progress just from the commitment to yourself. One of the big words I use is integrity. And my buddy, Marcus Collius, who became my mentor and just an amazing guy, he talks about integrity in a different way that really changed my perspective. We always think about integrity as my promises to other people, right? Like that's kind of our outward measure of integrity, but integrity is a measurement with yourself too.
Sure.
Do I tell myself what I'm going to do, and when I don't do it, I'm breaking my integrity.
Yeah, you lose self-confidence.
Right. And so just the fact that you now are doing what you say you're going to do for yourself instantly elevates your entire world, in my mind.
Let me ask you this. In a world of fast clicks and just the internet and everything else, and everybody's heads down is in their phone, I think, we catch ourselves doing it sometimes. We're sitting there and I look around and everybody's on the couch and just staring at their phones. How much do you think dopamine addiction is causing this mass reduction in masculinity with men? I mean,
I think, is there a bigger factor right now? I mean, because here's the problem. The dopamine addiction that you have allows the algorithms, and this is a little tinfoil hat-ish, but the algorithm is feeding you stuff that based on the behavior that you have. The behavior you're doing is to get the dopamine hit. And when you see something about that reinforces your predisposed biases, then you get the dopamine hit, and then it continues to ingrain that, right? So like if it's telling you that masculine men are rapists or whatever the message is for the day, you're going to continue to get that, right? So you're using the dopamine to reinforce untruths in your life. And so it's crazy that it works that way, but it's literally like this, self-fulfilling prophecy to where the more I do it, the worse it gets. And the worse it gets, the more I want to do it. And it's on and on and on.
Well, the reason I'm laughing is because as far as algorithms goes, my son was getting his news from Twitter. And I'm like, buddy, you can't do that, because if you look at if you look at 3 articles that lean this way, everything you're going to get is going to be that way. And that was starting to happen with him. And I said, I'm going to prove a point. And I grabbed his Twitter and I think I typed in like big booty college girls or something into Twitter. Watch your algorithm change now. His mom was not thrilled with that lesson. She did not think that was the right way to go. I thought it was very effective. I proved that to my wife because she had seen one of my, on my TikTok account, there's girls on my TikTok account. Yeah.
And so I said, all right, I'm going to prove this to you. Right now, we're going to start a brand new TikTok account where I say I'm a 53-year-old male. Brand new. Feed is full of nothing but young girls. I had literally never interacted with TikTok under that account. Like they serve you what they think you're going to like. Yeah. And you have to retrain it and all that. It's crazy.
All right. Well, let's bring this home with something I like to do, which is I go on the old ChatGPT. And these are the only prepared questions I ever ask. Ready? I say, just give me 10 random weird questions that would be appropriate for this person that they've probably never been asked.
Okay.
Right? So it's unique to you. It's a little unique to you, but it's random. You ready? You go. We're gonna go fast. You ready? Number 1, if masculinity were a meal, what would be on the plate?
Steak and potatoes. I mean, I think that's the common answer.
Okay, perfect. What is one non-negotiable you do before 7 a.m. that would sound crazy to most people?
Cold plunge.
Oof, yeah, I don't do the cold. What's the dumbest thing you've done that still somehow made you stronger?
I have multiple times created situation with ladders that should have ended in my death, but have not so far.
But made you stronger because you didn't learn not to do it again? I mean, I don't understand how that makes you stronger, but okay.
Made me stronger because I keep working out so I can do stupid things.
Okay. If discipline had a smell, what would it be?
Wow, that's a weird one. I'll say gear oil just because it's the worst smell in the world.
Okay. What's the most un-alpha habit you have that actually makes you a better man?
Self-tanner.
That might be the start of this podcast. That might be how we start this out. Okay. Oh, God. If you could go back and give your 21-year-old self a two-word piece of advice, what would it be?
Can I have 3? Don't be an asshole. That's 4.
Okay. Number 7, you can only keep one forever. Physical strength or emotional control?
Oh, definitely physical strength.
Okay. You're just like the Hulk. You can be like the Hulk running, 80 years old. You're just like the Hulk running around crazy.
That's a guy answer, but
there you go.
Physical strength.
All right. Number 8, which animal best represents the kind of man you're trying to build through Maxed Out Men?
A bear.
Okay. Number 9, what's a quote you think is absolute garbage that everyone else seems to love?
God doesn't give us more than we can handle.
Okay. And last one.
It's not in the Bible, by the way.
Okay. Last one. If you had to max out one area of your life that has nothing to do with business, faith, or fitness, what would it be and why?
It would be continue to grow my marriage, because above all else, I want to be 105 years old and have been married for 80 years. Like, I want to get to that.
And that's the wrap. Kevin, how do they find you if they want to find you?
Go to maxoutman.com. I also have a little digital product, if you're interested, called thedatenightblueprint.com. Super cheap, super digital download. Take your wife on a date this weekend. It's ready to go.
Love that. All right, brother, I appreciate it, man. Anytime you want to come back on, you let me know. All right.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Guys, so, man, I'm assuming men, because I don't know how many women are still around after that. I don't know. Hopefully a bunch. I don't know. But listen, here's the deal. If you're drifting through life, chances are, the 3 pillars that he teaches are really where you need to start, because they're all based on one thing, which is self-accountability. If you can't be honest with yourself, you can never hold yourself accountable. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, you're never going to build self-confidence, and you will continue to drift. We'll see you next time. Hey, it's John Gafford from the Escaping the Drift podcast. And big news, my new book, Escaping the Drift, is coming out November the 11th. You can pre-order it right now at thejohngafford.com. There are tons of bonuses, tons of giveaways. Get the book. If you are somebody that feels like you might be drifting along, this is for you. If you know somebody that feels like they might be drifting along, this is for you. Available everywhere, all bookstores, everywhere, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, the whole 9 yards. But pick your copy up right now at thejohngafford.com and get a bunch of the awesome bonuses I've thrown out, because I promise you, I put my heart and soul into this thing. I want it to help you change your life. Pick it up everywhere. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Escaping the Drift. Hope you got a bunch out of it, or at least as much as I did out of it. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the show, you can always go over to escapingthedrift.com. You can join our mailing list. But do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, throw up that 5-star review, give us a share, do something, man. We're here for you. Hopefully you'll be here for us. But anyway, in the meantime, we will see you at the next episode.